In life, there are what I call currents, okay? So just like the currents in the ocean, currents in water, in life there are currents that are consistently pushing you around. And for some of you, they might be called tax season, relationships, having a house, having responsibility, having kids. For a lot of you, you don't have much time in your day, but when you have currents hitting you from all these different angles, you can't catch a break. Can't catch a break, and as a result, time passes. 1 week passes, a few months pass, a few years pass, and you eventually get to the point where you're looking at yourself in a mirror and you can't quite figure out how you let things get to this point. Now, here's the unfortunate part, is that for some of you, I want you to visualize like you're standing on top of this mountaintop. A lot of us, we have wishful thinking. So we're at the top of this mountain and we're looking across into the distance and we can see another mountain. The grass is greener, it looks more lush, there's people that are happy on the other side. And we say to ourselves, one day I'll get there. One day I'll figure out how to be happy like that. One day I'll take control of my health. But there's a big catch here. Currents are still happening, and you have to descend to get to the other side, to get to the other mountain. And we call that a chasm. We call that a valley. For a lot of us, we stay because it looks too intimidating to take the plunge. We stay at the top and we say, one day I will do it. One day I'll build up the confidence. But there is a select few of you champions, where you decide to take the plunge, you descend, you figure things out, you figure out how to climb to the top to get to the other side. But for many of you, it's not that simple. You don't know what you're doing, but you descend. You don't know what to do to get out of this chasm, but you try to get out. This video, The Art of Pressure, is for you individuals that are trying to figure things out. I know where you're coming from. You don't have enough time in your day, let alone to sit down, open a book, and to figure out this. So if this video serves any purpose, it's to save you time. So what I want to do is I'm going to break down each one of these things. Do you have to learn this stuff? No. Is it good if you learn it? Yes, because you're going to learn from my mistakes. I have spent thousands of dollars to learn this stuff. I have invested tremendous amounts of time to have to learn, apply this, to work with clients, to start a clinic, and now to have to present this to you. You are in a much better position to feel your absolute best, because we know in this culture, you don't have a choice but to work hard. And for many of you, you sacrifice your health and live life not feeling your best. So this is going to be the art of pressure. And if you can relate to anything that I said, I hope you invest your time and apply the champion's mindset to taking control of your health. Years ago, when I was working in retail, I had a colleague of mine that would not stop talking about pathophysiology, neuroanatomy, biomechanics, all these things that I had no idea that I was interested in, because at the time I was into lifting weights with my friends. And in my circle of friends, I was the guy that always had something to say about the body. I always had advice. I was always trying to help guide people to learning about the body. So me having this colleague talking about things that I had no idea about intrigued me. So one day I went up to her and I said, what is it, these things that you're talking about, what are you going to school for? Are you trying to be a doctor? And she had said, no, I'm studying massage therapy. And in that moment, it blew my mind that massage therapy, which I thought was this thing that only females did, that massage therapy was anything more than just flushing out the body. Like those things that you see on TV where you hack people, those parlors that are often associated with massage. I didn't realize that there was this complete flip side to massage therapy. So what I want to do is I want to teach you some of the technical sides of massage therapy, because when I built up the courage to actually look into what massage was after talking to my colleague, I went to an open house and they gave me this handout. And in this handout, it talked about what massage could do to help people. And it literally listed off these points here. And these are the same points that convinced me to take massage therapy. And it made me open up my mind to the world that massage isn't what I thought it was, being this female thing, being this thing for spas. It's only meant for relaxation. You can actually make a huge impact in somebody's quality of life if you can learn to break down and deconstruct the effects that pressure can have on your body and how we can use it to your advantage to have you feeling your best. So what I'm going to do here is talk about each one of these points and how it applies to you. Right, so number one, we have the mechanical effects of pressure. And I'm going to keep this as simple as possible. When we're stressed out, and we all stress in our own unique ways, right? For me, it's my jaw. When I get stressed out, when I was a student, when I get stressed out because of work, whatever stresses me out, I clench my jaw so hard throughout the day. When I sleep, I think I'm wearing down my teeth because I clench so often. We all deal with stress differently, okay? Some of you around your shoulders, your chest gets tight. Some of you are making a fist all day, your wrist, your forearms get tight. For some of you, it's your stomach, it's your bum, your back starts to hurt. Whatever it is, stress can snowball to the point where the body starts to physically, mechanically react to this idea of stress. Now, pressure and the mechanical effects. This is where I run the risk of losing you, so just bear with me. If you've ever eaten chicken, okay? Chicken, yes, the chicken that you eat, the chicken that you cook, KFC chicken. If you've ever overcooked chicken, what does overcooked chicken feel like? It feels, if you were to poke it, close your eyes and poke it, it would feel firm, stiff. It would feel non-malleable. That's what I want to say as a massage therapist. It feels like an eraser. Now in contrast, if you have raw chicken, what is raw chicken? If you close your eyes and you're poking raw chicken, what does that feel like? It feels like squishy, like it's squishy. It feels soft. It feels malleable, yet firm. What does this mean? When you're stressed out, muscle will feel like overcooked chicken, okay? So take whatever stress you're going through and think to yourself, where do I hold my stress? Poke around, it's gonna feel like overcooked chicken. In contrast, healthy muscle feels like raw chicken. It feels soft, it feels squishy, it feels firm, yet malleable. So what does this have to do with anything? The art of pressure. When we take a roller, such as this, or we take a lacrosse ball, the mechanical effects of pressure, we can take something that feels like overcooked chicken, and if we work it, if we knead it, if we stretch it, if we manipulate it enough, over time, something stiff can slowly reset and go soft. So for a lot of you, when you're under a lot of stress, you're under chronic amounts of stress, you are walking around with more tension, more soreness in your body than you have to. And you can use the effects, the mechanical effects of pressure to your advantage. So I don't want to get into the specifics as to how many minutes, how many repetitions you have to work with to reset a muscle, but all that I will say is that you have to give it time. You cannot rush a release. You cannot force it to happen. In fact, a lot of the times you're better off just holding pressure on wherever you're dealing with tension. Just put pressure, let it sit, let it marinate, and you will see that over time it'll go from being stiff and firm to soft and squishy. That is the mechanical effects of pressure. So next on the list we have the physiological effects of pressure. Now, to be fully transparent with you, I just believe using analogies is the way to go. I think if I were to use too much science, it would just go over your head. Maybe your attention span is not there for it, or maybe you just might not care too much about it. So I'm gonna use another analogy, okay? Just picture you have a sponge in your hand and you have this tower of plates that you have to tackle. They're dirty, they're greasy, just the dirtiest pile of plates you can think of, and you have one sponge and you gotta get cracking. So you spend 30 minutes cleaning up the plates. Fast forward, you've done your job, and you have a sponge in front of you. What is that sponge gonna look like? That same sponge that you had worked on these dirty plates it's gonna look filthy. So how do you clean a dirty sponge? You wring it out. You get some water, clean water, you squeeze it, you get rid of the congestion inside of the sponge by squeezing it and wringing it out. Your body is very much the same, because when we're under stress, the body does what? It shortens, it approximates. Whether it's mental stress causing us to do this, whether we go to the gym, we traumatize the body by working out, the body has to heal, it'll shorten to trigger a healing response. If we're not careful with how we're managing our body, a lot of us are walking around like a sponge that hasn't been wrung out, it hasn't been squeezed out, and as a result, our muscles are holding on to congestion. It's holding on to pro-inflammatory cells that don't make us feel the best. The reason why this should matter to you is because we can have a great effect on that one situation where if we use pressure, whether it's a tennis ball, whether it's massaging at the clinic, stretching, using a foam roller, I believe, just like you're wringing out a sponge, I think we can wring out our body and squeeze our bodies and put our body under pressure where we can almost get rid of those pro-inflammatory cells within our body. And I believe that because when somebody starts massage for the first time, it is always a painful experience. But if you keep the pressure the same, over time, after getting the muscles worked on and opened up, the same pressure won't feel like it's unbearable. It'll actually feel comfortable. So what you will see and what to look for is that in the beginning, because there is a lot of congestion in your muscles, it's not gonna feel the best. And that tells you, you have to get it worked on. Pain doesn't always mean a bad thing. Pain to me is an indicator that I should put more attention into that area. But the key indicator is that over time, whatever you're using to self-massage and put pressure on your body, you will see that over time, because we're managing the body and we're getting rid of that congestion, the effects of the pressure will feel much more relieving. Next, we have number 4, which is the psychology or the psychological aspect of how we can influence your body. And a lot of you might not know this, but when I first started the clinic, I operated in this world because I started off working with seniors and I worked with infants. Now you might ask, what does this have to do with seniors and infants? Because I'm not just talking about relaxation. We talked about that already with transients, having a short duration effect on the body of relaxation. The psychology aspect of seniors and infants can be a pretty heavy one. In fact, that's why I decided to leave that world, because when you're working with seniors, you especially if they're geriatrics, if they're end-of-life care, if they're in their final stages, sometimes you can't communicate. And that's what I mean. It's a heavy subject because there isn't verbal communication. You can't use language as communication, but when it comes to touch, I'm sure many of you can relate to a friend that grabs you by the shoulder and it just kind of feels awkward, or maybe you hug someone and it's the most comforting hug. You're internalizing contact or touch. And when it comes to certain crowds, that is a form of communication. And I know this sounds a little hippie, but it's the truth. When you cannot verbally communicate, touch becomes a point of reassurance. It becomes a point of giving someone a sense of comfort. And for seniors and for infants, we can have that effect on them. We can have a effect where we can actually affect the development of a child. And there's been a lot of studies that say children that don't have the physical comfort of touch from their parents, mother or father or family, do not develop psychologically, mentally, the same as a child is exposed to more contact. And if we can use, pressure might not be the best word in this context, but if we can use the arts of massage to influence the developments of a child, why not? Okay? So we can have a great impact on someone's health, psychology, by using touch. In fact, to take it a step further, a lot of addiction clinics use pressure and use massage as a form of reassurance to comfort them when they're dealing with forms of addiction. I would actually encourage you to look into this. It's actually quite fascinating how using massage therapy can aid someone's recovery process with a lot of different types of addictions. So, pressure, okay? It's more prominent, and I would say the psychological effects of pressure is more exaggerated, or it's more grand in effect, especially for seniors and infants, but we can have a huge impact in how someone is perceiving our touch if we do it right, okay? And last little note before I get off this topic, in healthcare, the most underutilized form of medicine is touch. So if we can use pressure to our advantage, we can have a great impact on how someone's perceiving stress and what they're going through by doing either massage in a clinic or by using a foam roller more often, okay? So that is the art of pressure as it relates to the psychology. All right, and last but not least, we have the effects of pressure and increasing temperature. Now what's interesting here is that if you can recall to your younger years in life, if you have a container of Play-Doh, maybe you still play with Play-Doh by yourself or with your kids, but if you have a container of Play-Doh, you open it up, you take the Play-Doh out, what does a fresh piece of Play-Doh feel like? It feels cold, stiff. If you move it too much, you can actually crack pieces off, right? How do you get to the point where Play-Doh is more malleable? You work it, you knead it, you put some elbow grease into it. What I'm saying is that your body's very similar, where if you're dealing with a lot of stiffness in your body, pressure has a great impact, especially if you use a roller. You can have a great impact in how the body feels, because if you can increase temperature, just like that piece of Play-Doh that's stiff and firm in the beginning, if you knead it, if you work it enough, the body will feel like it's much more stretched out just simply because of temperature. And if you know how I work at the clinic, you know that I specialize in a technique called myofascial release. And unlike a traditional massage, where a traditional massage, it's high lotion, high gel, creams, we want glide with a traditional massage, but myofascial release is interesting because we use wax. And we use wax because we actually want to work towards increasing the temperature of the tissue, because wax, there's high grip, high friction. By the end of the treatment, because we've been pulling on the body, right? We grab the body, we pull it, there is an increase in temperature. So that great feeling you feel after one of these sessions, not just the sense of feeling like you're beat up, but the open feeling that you have and the warmth that you have is due to the high friction. So this can actually be a tremendous point of relief for you, because it's like resetting the body. If you can put a heating pad on the body lets go. You can do that with a foam roller, a lacrosse ball, whatever tool you decide to do. Temperature plays a huge role in having you feel your absolute best. All right, you guys, so this is the art of pressure, and this is just a very surface level introduction as to what massage therapy is. This is the stuff that really piqued my curiosity earlier on when I was first getting into this world, because I thought massage was this feminine thing. I thought it was for relaxation. But the truth is, we can achieve some amazing results if we're working towards massage therapy in the right way. So take home, all you need is a roller. 2 techniques is all you have to know. You can either use static pressure, hold it in one spot, or you can use kneading as a technique where you go in circles. It doesn't have to get more complicated than that. You can choose to make it more complicated. We have resources to help guide you, but just please, you can just use a foam roller or a lacrosse ball to achieve these results. Static pressure, you hold it for 30 seconds to a minute, or you can knead it out with the same tools in a circular fashion. You can feel your absolute best in a chaotic world where we're all stressed out.